All right, we're streaming. We're here. We're live. Fuck it.
Man.
We're live. We're like 10 seconds into the stream. We've already dropped an F-bomb. I say we. Yeah, it tracks for sure. All right. So, welcome back. These are the fellows from 3 and Out, the representatives today. Yeah. There's obviously me, Drew, and then Brandon's here, and then hi, Brandon. So, anybody who has been a fan of my work in the past should know who Eric is. He looks like he's busy reading company emails at this moment and may or may not be listening to me. So,
No, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes.
yeah, quality ad. Sameka's here. That's all that matters. Eric's not listening to me, but Sameka's here. So, I genuinely can't tell if he can't hear me because he simply just has not said a word yet. And his facial expressions does not make it sound like... Brandon, you can hear me.
I can hear you. I don't think he can. I think you're correct.
This is hilarious.
Wait, you can hear Drew? Yeah, Drew's just still loading on mine.
Wow.
I can hear you, Eric.
Yeah, I can see you and I can hear you. Drew's box is just a loading screen.
That's actually...
It's loading on mine, but I can hear him.
That's actually really funny. Yeah.
Oh, hold on 1 second. Now try it, Drew.
Oh. Hi, Eric. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Wow. Okay. Man muted me.
I just muted you.
That's fine.
Right, yeah, I muted you because you were talking before and we're on the voice call.
Yeah. Wait, so, Brandon, can you see me? Because I can't see myself.
I cannot see you.
Thank you, Sameka. Sameka can hear me. That's all. Honestly, at the end of the day, that's what matters. I can't see myself, but that's okay. I've cheated and I dropped my little box on top of where my spot is in the call, so it doesn't really look all that weird. But yeah, guys, so we're here to talk ball. How we doing? Anybody looking for any shakeups over the next couple of minutes? No. Not really looking for anything crazy?
Wait, now. I can't hear Drew now.
You got
talking currently?
Drew is talking currently.
I can't hear him now.
Solid. Yeah.
Maybe
For
I'll
sure.
turn on the audio for the... Oh, no, I couldn't talk then.
I just want to say, this wasn't this hard last week. I'd like to give a big shout out to Noah. Doing the behind the scenes work is pretty difficult. Not gonna lie. This is why we start 15 minutes before the actual show, to try to get all the bugs worked out. All right. Goodbye, Sameka. If y'all can hear me, please say so.
Say so.
All right, cool.
Brandon cannot hear you, I guess.
What did you do?
I can't. Eric, I can hear you. I can't hear Drew now. It's the other way around. Now Eric can hear you, but I can't.
Can you hover over Drew's screen and he had like a little muted microphone on mine, and I just clicked on it, and that's what made it better.
I am simply a ghost, an apparition, a poltergeist, if you will. I'm here to haunt Eric from beyond the grave. Only he can hear me. No one else can. But you know what? It don't matter. Don't matter. Bro, where is ESPN? Alright. Y'all would think this is coming on after Sports Center, right?
Isn't it at 6:30?
Thought it was at 7.
I could be wrong, but last week it was 6:30.
No, it was definitely at 7 last week because we did the show at 6:45 last week.
I was in a bar, so.
No. All right, Brandon. Anything, brother?
All right, let me.
Brandon
I'm
is
try
now
to
the
hold
big
out for a
screen.
sec and
All right.
And see if that does anything because I can't hear a word he's saying.
All right.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, go ahead and dip out. And come back, see if that works.
I dip, you dip, we dip. Hey, can you answer? No, man, I'm still chilling.
Okay. All right, Brandon's back.
See that?
There we go. I can hear you now.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Love that. Just in time. Ah, jinx. Oh, you know, my good friend Justin. Just in time. And his cousin, just in case. Because, you know, first names have to do with all that. Yeah. I also have the stream pulled up on my personal. Just dropped a little comment. You heard me? Let's go ahead and like the video while we're here. All right, bet. This is good. This is good. We're here. All right, now we're ready to talk ball. Let's do it to it.
Get down to business.
All right. So just to refresh everybody, October 31st, 2023, the rankings were as follows. Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, Washington, Oregon, Texas, Alabama, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Penn State, Missouri, Louisville, LSU, Notre Dame, Oregon State, Tennessee, Utah, UCLA, USC, Kansas, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Tulane, and Air Force. Obviously, Air Force is going to be gone. They lost this week. Very tragic. The Eagles have landed outside the top 25. Here, actually, let me just do this. Let me just pull up a little screen action here. This is the official website of the CFP rankings. Oh, shit. Sorry. So this is it. You know, screw everybody else who needs to be on the stream. Just me. Fuck it. Doesn't matter. This is it. I know. You know, this is what happens when you give the wrong guy too much power. But yeah, this is it. Physical representation. Gone. Can only move up at this point, I feel like. Kansas State, I'm pretty sure they lost. Not sure.
They lost to Texas.
Thank you. So they're probably out of the top 25. Oklahoma State can only go up. Kansas can only go up. USC. Do we think they fall out of the top 25?
Where were they?
They were at 20.
I think they might stay.
Like 24?
Yeah, somewhere real close to 25, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, they got beat, but it was by Washington. And
right.
It was only by 10 points.
Right.
Doesn't that make 3 straight, though?
3 out of the last 4 at least. I don't know if 3 straight. I'm pretty sure they beat up on somebody. You know what? Screw it. Just look up USC football. No, they beat Cal.
Big win there.
Yeah, huge win.
They beat them by a point. That's right.
Yep. Almost 4 straight.
Yikes.
Yeah. Tough. So, but yeah. UCLA, Utah, and then I think Tennessee's only going to go up. Oregon State. Honestly, the show's starting. Let's go. I think Missouri has an argument to stay inside the top 15. That's just me.
I personally believe they should.
Yeah.
They played their asses off.
I think Bama might jump Texas.
Think Bama might jump Texas?
Yeah, Texas went to overtime, double overtime against Kansas State.
Valid.
So
I was impressed with Alabama.
They look like they're getting stronger with every single game this year.
It's a good point. It is a good point.
I mean, they also just beat a top 15 team in LSU, so by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. It's fair. It's very fair.
Back top 25 wins.
It's a good point. I do think that we kind of take back-to-back top 25 wins for granted in the SEC, in Alabama especially. All right, we're back. If I can quit fucking with the wrong thing, that'd be great. Jeez, I hope no one in the chat is gets motion sick because I am floating around the screen right now.
All over the place.
I am all over the place. Brandon's laggy, but he was stuck on a good face. You were smiling. It was funny. It was good.
I'm glad I could be photogenic.
Absolutely.
At least there was that.
Yeah. Eric's twitching because I believe his TV's on his left.
It is on my left.
Yeah. Is that closet just a curtain?
Yeah.
That's that hotel living, baby.
Hey, baby. Living out of a suitcase. I haven't got to check out my room yet. I literally got in here and logged straight on.
Committed to the game. All right, so we did this last time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Top 6. Top 4, then you 2 on the bubble. Let's hear it, fellas.
Brandon, you want to take it?
I'll take it. I honestly think at least the top 4 is unchanged.
Just going to rock chalk on the top 4?
Yeah.
OSU, UGA.
Kind of, Rutgers stuck with them for a while. They pulled away in the end. I said this earlier in one of the videos this week, I think, but if Georgia would have put it to Missouri, I think we'd be having another conversation about a potential jump. I think Ohio State stays at number 1.
Okay.
And Georgia stays at 2.
Okay.
And then I don't see any reason why Florida State would jump Michigan. So I think Michigan's 3. The only action I could potentially see is maybe Washington hopping Florida State after that win against USC. But I don't know. I don't think they'll do it. Honestly, I kind of like it where it is, at least top 6 right now. I know that's kind of a cop-out, but I don't really know if anybody had, nobody lost and nobody had an insane performance. So I think the top 6 could potentially be unchanged.
Yeah. I mean, I've been documented saying it before. I think you're right. So if that's going to make this a very easy segment.
I mean,
because I've already got them written down.
I think the only thing that could maybe happen, if anything, in the top 6 is they flip-flop Washington and Florida State.
Right.
I just don't think they will.
Well, Florida State also just beat a lower tier ACC team by 50 points. So
exactly. So
I mean, you're
Did
gonna.
you say Florida State?
Yeah. Pretty sure.
They only beat them 24-7.
I might be thinking of.
Yeah, they beat Pitt 24-7.
Maybe I was thinking of last week.
So I don't know. I just don't think that. But does Ohio State have the best resume right now because their good win over Notre Dame doesn't look so good after they fell to Clemson? Georgia might jump Ohio State just because of that loss, and Georgia's got a ranked win over a top 12 team in the nation. They might.
That's a fair point.
I think.
I didn't think about that.
I think if there's some potential for Georgia to jump Ohio State, I think it's after this week. Okay, here we go. Boom.
Yeah.
Kansas State at 25, North Carolina at 24, Tulane, Iowa, and Arizona.
Before it gets there, I think it's going to.
They deserve that.
I think it's going to be Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, Florida State, and then Washington, Oregon.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from, Eric. I mean, I think Georgia's entering the meat of their schedule, whereas, Ohio State's meat is kind of behind it, but they still do have their crown jewel in the game happening at the end of this month. So I mean, again, as a great football coach once says, don't care where we're ranked as long as it's in the top four. I think it's kind of futile to.
I just think that they put Ohio State at number 1 because of their resume, and I don't think that their resume got any better. I think it got a lot worse after this last slate of games last week.
That's a fair point.
I mean, that's totally fair. I mean, we already knew the wheels had fallen off of Notre Dame.
Oh, here we go.
Speaking of, number 20.
Notre Dame, LSU.
I'm glad they kept LSU in the top 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. Utah, I
Oklahoma,
mean,
Kansas.
okay. I mean, that's about right for Oklahoma.
I think I'm a little bit ahead of you guys on the top 25.
Probably. Yeah, probably
Yeah,
because you're actually connected to
streaming it.
you're actually connected to cable and we're streaming.
It goes Oklahoma State, Missouri, Tennessee, Oregon State, and Louisville at number 11.
Okay,
Where's
so
Missouri at?
so Missouri State at
Missouri's 14.
okay, good,
I like it.
good. I mean, they dropped from 12 to 14. I think that's accurate.
That's fair. That's fair.
Top 15 for them, I think, is warranted.
So Georgia's going to be against they got number 13 Tennessee if Tennessee wins their next game. So that's like 4-2.
See, but that's the thing is like I think from a conference perspective, I think we're rooting for Missouri in that game. Just
Yes.
because we could win the East before we even kick off.
We'll be at Missouri too, I think.
It is.
It
It's
is.
in Como.
That's a big one.
That is a big one. Both 7-2. It's a big game. Like honestly, yeah, I agree. And Louisville chilling at 11. I mean, fine. I guess I mean,
Dark horse there.
yeah.
All right, 10. We got
The
Penn
ACC.
State.
Penn State didn't bump up.
They did. They bumped up to number 10.
Oh, that's right. They were at 11.
Yeah, Eric, you're like a minute ahead.
Yeah, I'm still staring at Louisville.
Yeah.
Mosby nice.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Penn State at 10. I mean, that's going to be a good game. Top 10 matchup this week. And
Yeah,
Penn State College.
I figured they'd do that just to make it documented as like a top 10 matchup.
Yeah.
I mean,
Pass on that opportunity.
Regardless, I do think they deserve to be in the top 10.
Yeah.
They're just not a top 2 team in their conference.
All right, number 9, Ole Miss.
Good deal. Yeah. No surprises so far. I just thought everybody was just going to move up a couple slots with the falling out of Oklahoma.
Yeah. Pretty expected.
Yep. Nothing too crazy here. I don't like from here up. I don't think we're gonna get any surprises until maybe the 4 and 5 slot and maybe the 1 and 2 slot.
I agree. That's where if anything's going to happen, it's going to be there.
Yeah. Because at this point in the season, you can't put Oregon over Washington. Like Oregon
Number
hasn't.
8,
Alabama at 8. Okay.
I just the Big 12 is going to be a fun last 3 weeks to see who goes to the conference championship.
So
game.
Alabama didn't move up at all.
No.
All right.
That means Texas is probably going to be at 7.
Yep. This is exactly where they were last week.
I don't know. I would have put Bama over Texas. Texas, especially now that Texas doesn't have their quarterback in years.
I think he's coming back pretty soon. What's up, Jordan? Jordan says, "What's good, fellas?" What it is? Yeah, Bama at 8. I mean, it is just like it's really funny how like I just think it's funny that Bama's below Texas. I mean, they literally played on the field, but I get
like
it.
a season ago.
I know it feels a long, long time ago. Because like I'm sitting here, I'm like, who's Alabama's one loss? Like I actually have to like go back into the recesses of my memory and like.
Number 7's Texas.
Okay, I don't know, it just kind of cracks me up. I guess they're probably just looking forward and putting Texas at 7 because Texas still, I would say, has an easier path to the playoff than Alabama does. That's my only rationalization for that one.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, that's fair. I think
Yeah.
it's about the only way.
Right now.
Yeah, they're really milking this one a little bit more than they were the original. We definitely did not go 1 by 1 on the top 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna love if they like dramatize it or dramatize or whatever, and 1 by 1, and it's just the same thing as last week.
Yeah. If if top 6 is just rock chalk, then coming up next. God bless.
They've got to extend it somehow. Play some commercials.
That's fair. I mean, they got to. I mean, hey, everybody's got to make a little revenue. I understand. Damn, Greg.
I want to look and see what the Big 12 is looking like right now.
I can go ahead and tell you it's a 2-horse race between Texas.
Oklahoma State and Texas. Wow.
Yes, Oklahoma State and Texas, correct.
The Pokes.
There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams that have 2 losses.
Correct.
7 teams with 2 losses or less.
Correct.
Conference play.
Correct. That just tells me you don't watch our videos. I'm kidding.
Trying to get some conversation. Okay, here we go. Top six.
Because this time last week, we literally put out a video. It was like, there are currently 5 teams tied for first place in the Big 12.
Oregon, number 6.
Wow. Shocker. I'm really surprised they didn't cut the commercial there. What is Booger doing?
I wonder what all there is to talk about here.
What is Booger doing at the desk in general? Like, no offense to Booger, but dog. Yeah.
Probably going to be Florida State.
Probably, because if they didn't put Washington at 4, then I don't see any reason to just not rock chalk. Yeah.
Florida State's not jumping Michigan or anything.
No, I don't think so. No.
There's no shot.
Correct. Would you say that Georgia's win over Missouri was impressive enough?
It was impressive. The only reason I think that they might jump them is just because I don't think Ohio State's resume is as solid as it was last week.
Yeah. So you think it's been devalued by Notre Dame dropping that game against
Florida State's number 4.
Okay, FSU number 4.
That's a fair point.
So you're saying that Ohio State deserves to be knocked because
Ohio State hasn't impressed me all year, but they've got good wins. They're ugly. Michigan's number 3. They're ugly wins, but they're good wins. So they have the best resume. Now their resume doesn't look so good. That's Notre Dame. 4 for Clemson.
I mean, they also have the win over then and current top 10 Penn State.
That's their only good win, and Georgia's got a win now over Kentucky, Florida, and Missouri. Missouri's 13.
Yeah, well,
Penn State's 10.
Florida's teetering on firing their coach, and Kentucky's moved on to basketball
every
season.
other year in Gainesville.
Oh man, I saw an article today where it was like apparently a bunch of people are calling for Michigan to be prevented from making the postseason while these allegations are being investigated.
I wouldn't be against it.
I wouldn't be against it either, but they
Georgia's number 2, Ohio State's number 1.
All right, it's the same. It's the same thing.
Rock chalk, yeah, whatever. Yep. All right.
They had to draw it out a little bit. They're like,
so does Georgia? If Georgia gets a convincing win over top 10 Ole Miss, is that enough to jump them?
I think.
Well, who does Ohio State plays who this week?
State.
Michigan State, 3-6.
I feel if they like I said, okay, I don't think you can do one. I think we have to beat the crap out of Ole Miss, and Ohio State has to struggle.
That's 10.5.
I'm aware.
What's the spread on the Ohio State game?
I don't know, but I
Like
can look.
30.
31 and a half.
31 and a half, actually?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Is that in the shoe or is that?
It's in the shoe.
It's got to be in the shoe.
If they struggle against Michigan State and Georgia puts it to,
Ole Miss.
If they put it to Ole Miss, I couldn't think of him for a second. Excuse me.
He's like,
if they put it to Ole Miss. They jump on it, but
I just think that the only part of this, like at the end of the day, it doesn't make a difference whether we're 1 or 2. I really think the only difference it makes is if we're playing in, was it Sugar Bowl and Rose Bowl or playoff games this year? Yeah, I mean the only difference is if we're playing in Louisiana or California.
I'd rather play in Louisiana.
I mean, I would rather play in Louisiana, especially considering our at the moment matchup would be Michigan. I would much rather play in Louisiana. So, but at the end of the day, I don't think it makes that big of a difference because we know that Michigan fans are going to travel, Dog fans are going to travel no matter where we go. Like, I just don't think it's going to be that big of a deal.
You would think that Ohio State, even if they finish number 1, you'd think that they'd pick the Rose Bowl anyways, just because it's more traditional for Big Ten to go to Rose Bowl. You think that it's not like they're terribly close to Louisiana.
I agree. If I was Ohio State sitting at 1, I would also go to the Rose Bowl because they have, like you said, Eric, I mean, they have the traditions of going to the Rose Bowl back in the BCS era. Yeah, make Florida State travel all the way to California. Like, if I'm
all the good hotels.
Exactly, and that hell, that's going to be maybe not that stadium exactly, but you have potential to go out there next season during conference play.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
So, might as well get your boys acclimated.
Where does Penn State go to if they win this game?
If they beat Michigan?
Yeah.
I think
jump Texas and Alabama?
Damn.
That's a good question.
That's a good question. Hold on, let me think about that one. Let me answer Sameka's question first because that's a lot easier to answer. So, Sameka said, "I'm back. College football is crazy sometimes." Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. Could you please explain why we would want Louisiana, please? Yes, of course. So, I just want to make this abundantly clear. I have not been trying to hide it. I am a Georgia fan. We're all Georgia fans. We're all Georgia alumni. Well, most of us are. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We all want Louisiana because just think about it geographically. It would be a lot easier for Georgia fans to travel to Louisiana than it would be to California. So you could argue that since it's easier for travel purposes, it'd be more of a home game atmosphere on our end. And also just to cut out some of the logistics that you have with traveling across the country, people getting jet lagged or what have you. Even though for all of these games they'll travel well in advance, it just makes it a little easier to be only one time zone behind instead of 3.
And Georgia has more familiarity with the Sugar Bowl.
Correct. Yep. So, also historically, how we said with Ohio State going to the Rose Bowl every year, Georgia has a similar relationship with the Sugar Bowl down in New Orleans. So that's why we would want that. However, let's just say hypothetically UGA does – Eric, we will come back to your question, I swear. Don't let us forget. If UGA does get bumped up to 1, and let's just say Ohio State – and let's just say we're playing Florida State, are we still going to New Orleans?
Make Florida State travel all the way out to California too.
Just to be petty?
Could be the move.
Take it away from the Big Ten.
Could be. I know. I mean,
2 birds, 1 stone.
2 birds, 1 stone.
Georgia's got good history in LA.
Yeah, I agree. I just, yeah.
2017.
Yep.
2022. Last 3.
Yeah, I think if I were Kirby, and let's just say that our potential matchup was Florida State, I would definitely fly cross country.
Yeah,
But
I think I'd agree with you.
I would love to see a bunch of Michigan fans get uncomfortable on Bourbon Street, getting barked at. Because I'm pretty sure they just bark at people normally on Bourbon. Kind of scary. But anyway. Okay, Eric. So your question is, if Penn State wins this weekend against Michigan,
Do they jump Alabama, Texas, and Oregon?
Penn State is currently at
Because
10.
yep. So here's what you guys can expound on is Michigan doesn't historically has no resume this year. They've beaten up on a lot of bad teams. So
Mm-hmm.
if they lose to Penn State, is it a good win?
I think it's a good win because I think a lot of people are fairly confident that Michigan is a top 3 team in the country, even though they really haven't played anybody. Just because they are actually beating the crap out of these teams that they're supposed to beat the crap out of.
Yeah, that was my thing. They've been, you can knock their resume, but they've handily won these games. And they've looked good while doing it. So I don't think that really discounts it too much.
Yeah.
But I think if Penn State knocks them off, they at least jump Texas and Alabama.
Really? Okay, let's just think about.
Because they have one loss. If they beat Michigan,
Mm-hmm.
one loss is to number 1 Ohio State.
True. Okay, let's think about this from a numbers standpoint. Okay, let's look at everybody above them. So they're at 10. Let's just assume UGA beats Ole Miss. So they are automatically at 9. And Alabama plays Kentucky this weekend? Is that right?
I
can fact check you.
Yep, Kentucky.
Thank you. So, and Texas plays Houston.
Texas plays TCU.
Damn. All right. So Texas plays TCU and Bama plays Kentucky. Ole Miss plays Georgia, obviously.
Oregon plays USC.
Oregon plays USC. Okay.
Were they like number 20?
They're they're high 20s. I think they're like 21 or 22 now.
Who's that?
USC.
USC.
They're still top 25. I thought they were. I don't know. They kind of flew past 21 through 25.
On that screen very long.
They're not ranked. Ooh, looking at it right now.
Tough. Okay.
That is tough.
Yeah.
I
So.
understand it, but that's tough.
Yeah. So, Eric, what you're really saying is, does a win over the number 3 team in the country bump you above a team that? This is all hypothetical. I'm not saying that Georgia's beating Ole Miss on Saturday. This is a purely hypothetical statement. So you're saying a win over the number 3 team in the country would bump this one-loss team over the other one-loss teams, which one of them is no longer one-loss team. One of them just beat a basketball school. One of them just beat an unranked in-conference opponent. And then another one of them just beat an in-conference unranked opponent.
I guess. I mean, I don't see. I know that the playoff committee always changes year to year. I through these first rankings, I don't know what they value because I feel like if you're going off resume, I think Georgia should be number 1. If you're going off of just pure dominance, Michigan should be number 1.
Can I ask you to back up UGA's resume?
Sure. You just beat Missouri, top 12 team by 9 points. You didn't cover, but Missouri's a good enough team where they didn't drop them. Kentucky's 6-3. I feel like they have won every game they should have, and I feel like the opponents they've played are better than Ohio State's. I mean, Ohio State's only good win is Penn State. It was at home, and it was an all right win. Penn State hung him to him for the majority of the game, and then who else is Ohio State beaten? Notre Dame. Notre Dame's lost to Louisville. They've lost to Clemson. They've lost to, I believe, one other team, or is that their only 2 losses?
No, they have 3 losses: Clemson, Louisville, and Ohio State.
It's Clemson.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Ohio State. That's right. So what do you think's a more impressive win? Game against Missouri or the game against Penn State? And I think Penn State's going to lose this weekend, so this conversation might be pointless. But I think they lose this week, and I think that SEC is a harder slate to run through than the Big Ten.
See, I think that the committee has to look at this as like a snapshot in time, and I think I brought that up last week. Like the top 10 best teams in the country right now are X, Y, and Z. However, I do think that. See, I don't know. I think, to be honest, I think you're being a little unfair to Ohio State. They can't control how the rest of Notre Dame's season goes after they beat them undefeated at home by a possession, where Notre Dame had all the mojo coming into the shoe, had a lot of preseason hype, had a Heisman front runner at quarterback. I don't know, because I truly think if Notre Dame wins that game, I think Notre Dame is undefeated and currently in the top 4.
Mm-hmm. So Drew, you value more of what the team was when they played them,
correct,
and their overall body of work throughout the season.
Correct. Yes, I do.
That's a fair. I think that's an argument in and of itself. Those two perspectives, whether it should be, looking at that whole body of work, or if it's just like a snapshot of where it was when they played that game. Because yeah. I do think I agree to an extent where taking a big loss like that can change a trajectory of the season. We've seen it before in previous seasons. So, but
yeah, I mean, look at Tennessee last year. I mean, they lost to South Carolina, and then everything just kind of fell to shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Georgia's resume is good, and if they put it to Ole Miss this Saturday, I think they'll have a strong argument to jump Ohio State, perhaps based off of resume, with another ranked win, top 10 win, under their belt, and then if they go into Neyland and beat a potentially,
top 20 Tennessee.
Yeah. So,
do you think that the committee's factoring in Georgia without Brock Bowers, without
I do.
Xavier Truss and Marius Mims?
I do.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That is something to consider. I mean, they haven't been fully healthy all season.
Yep.
And they're going to be without their middle linebacker play caller for a few weeks.
Yep. I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, obviously, especially at UGA, they harbor the team mentality. There are no individuals. Next man up. Just keep it rolling. But I mean, look at it at the end of the day. I mean, we're not going to sit here and lie to you. Brock Bowers is a huge hole in the Georgia offense.
Absolutely.
Is it Tamaz? Is that his first name?
I think it's Jamon or Javon.
Yeah.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Dumas
Johnson. He's obviously a huge hit on the defensive side of the ball, like you have already said. So I do think it's hard to keep the team at the same level if the pieces are slowly getting chipped away. But at the end of the day, I mean, I do think even if, or knock on wood, even if Carson Beck got injured in practice this week, I still think we're a top 4 team in the country.
Yeah,
Like,
there's no elite teams this year that can jump us. I think Georgia has the depth to withstand just about any injury.
yeah. Well, obviously, we're not asking for that, but I just, yeah. All right. So let's do this. Top 6 teams. Let's, because I'm not trying to get too into it. We don't need to wrap this up, but I don't want this to go on for too long. Let's just say, let's go 1 through 6. Chinks in the chain, games that are going to be, important down the stretch, things you still need to see for them to be a contender, path to the playoff, so on and so forth. So I guess I'll go ahead and get things started just to let y'all know what I mean. Ohio State, path to the playoff, went out. It's that simple.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, potential path to the playoff. If a little bit of chaos happens, you can lose a close one to Michigan, sit out the conference championship weekend, pray for a little bit more chaos, be a one-loss Ohio State sitting there chilling.
So like last year.
Exactly. So that's the path. Their weak link, surprisingly enough, is their offense.
Yeah.
And it's
That defense
definitely
is stout.
the defense has been carrying, let's be honest. If you watch the Wisconsin game, like I did, Wisconsin had every opportunity to take over that game, but Ohio State's defense kept them in it. They caused timely turnovers. They forced 3-and-outs when they needed to. Got off the field quick and early and often. Wisconsin just wasn't really able to get a drive together. It's kind of frustrating if you had money on Wisconsin. I don't know. Yeah, hypothetically speaking, for a friend. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like something like that. What do you see? We can just go in order. We can go around the horn. So if y'all want to skip UGA, we can because we've already touched on them already.
Yeah, I don't know how much more we need to talk about them. We've discussed in length.
Correct. All right. So Brandon, you want to take a deep dive on Big Blue?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of similar to Ohio State. The game is kind of a plan, the playoff at this point. That's what it is. So you win out, you win that game, and then you go on to beat whoever you play in the championship game. I think one potential weakness for them, I know, everybody talks about the resume, and they've beaten the teams. Props to them. They've beaten those teams how they should beat them. They've looked dominant, but you could argue they haven't faced a real test. So I think this week against Penn State will be telling and how they handle that. Is that where's that game being played? Is that in Happy Valley?
Yes,
Valley.
that is in Happy Valley.
That's a big one.
Yep.
I'll be interested to see how that goes because if they look dominant against Penn State.
If Penn State had a spine, they would white out for this game.
They would.
They can't.
I don't know why
they're
not.
It's because the big noon kickoff. The whiteouts traditionally primetime.
Mm-hmm. No,
I think Fox has done to
ruined
the big injustice. Yeah. I think Fox has done a huge injustice to the Big Ten. I do y'all think that genuinely plays a role in the fact that just no one takes the Big Ten seriously as a conference because their best game of the week is played at fucking noon?
Well, I think they have the same deal with Big 12, so they pick the best game out of the Big 12 and Big 10, don't they? Because they were there at the Texas-Oklahoma game.
They were. I mean, yeah, Fox has a deal with Big 10 and Big 12, and I mean they're both kind of screwed because their big noon kickoff.
Could you imagine the big noon kickoff with like Oregon versus Washington? You're playing the game locally at 9 a.m.
Yeah, I mean the Red River rivalry. The Red River rivalry starts at 11 a.m.
Yeah,
that's awful.
That plays into how playing having to get up at that hour of the day
Yeah,
and play a game of football at 11 a.m.
yeah,
has to change the dynamic of game.
Yeah, because like honestly, if you're playing a football game at 11 a.m., you probably have to report to the stadium by, I would say 10 o'clock at the latest, probably by 9:30, like to eat team
Probably more toward
breakfast.
9.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're eating team breakfast for God's sakes. And then you're probably going over like last minute film and the game plan and I don't know what the hell they do on the day of a college football game. I mean I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm a D1 athlete. But I'm just thinking of like all the stuff that went into like the pregame process in high school, and that took 4 hours. Because you got the getting of the game pants. You got your walkthroughs. You got your team meetings. You got tape. You've got pregame meal. I mean, it's a lot. I can only imagine it's at least 4 hours pregame at the collegiate level.
Minimum.
I mean, we do have a collegiate athlete in our midst, but it's a little different sport. So, Eric, you want to shine some light there? You just show up 5 minutes before you're supposed to be there and stretch, or?
We usually got there at about 3 hours before. We'd eat a meal or a light snack, depending on what time the game was. Do indies with the coach for a good 30 minutes, 45 minutes, get some doubles work in, and then stretch for about 30 minutes prior to game time, and then mess around for the last 15 minutes and go into doubles. So it was about 3 hours before.
Okay. So yeah. I mean, with that being said, that's at least 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Local time.
Our 11 o'clock matches, we were at the courts at 8 a.m.
Yeah. That's that. I feel like that throws everything off. But anyway, okay. That's enough about the big noon kickoff. Ugh, I hate that. I hate that it's not a night game. It's
Awful. The atmosphere would be insane there.
absolutely.
7:30, ABC.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan goes into Penn State to
Not that I'm complaining. I mean, we got the 7:30 time slot. I mean, I'm not complaining,
we got
but
7:30 ESPN. I would be fine with them. I would be fine with them getting the ABC slot.
But they're not going to put two games of that magnitude in competing time slots.
Fair. Well, it's two different markets, the North and the South.
I think there's college football fans. I think there's a more broad market there.
That's fair.
Just because, I mean, yeah, I'm planning on watching both games. I think especially since ESPN owns ABC, they're definitely going to try to diversify and do all that and make sure they don't have competing time slots like that. But anyway, all right, so that's Michigan. Florida State. Eric, what do they need to do? Where's their weak link? Side comment before you get started. I just want to say, little brother, Georgia Tech, has an outside shot at making the ACC championship game. They just need to.
Bring that up.
They need to.
Bring that up.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
They have a chance to go into they got Clemson
this week.
Syracuse.
Yep.
And what, they're 5-4? They could go in there 7-4 with a chance to possibly go to the ACC championship game. Is crazy.
It's wild. The fact that Tech and championship game are in the same sentence in November is ridiculous. That week one matchup against Louisville is really coming back to bite them in the ass. Because the current situation that they're in, they need to win out ACC schedule, and Louisville needs to lose out ACC schedule.
What's Louisville's remaining?
No one they should lose to. Let's put it that way.
Virginia. Let's see. Virginia, Miami, Kentucky.
Yep. But hey, stranger things have happened in that conference. So
mathematically, Georgia Tech can still make the ACC championship.
Correct.
as of right now,
Correct.
which is
All right.
impressive.
Yep. Eric, I didn't mean to take the wind out of your sails. Please, you have the floor.
It's easy for Florida State. You just got to win Florida. They got Miami and Florida coming up. You got to finish the ACC schedule out strong with Miami. You get a little cupcake with North Alabama, and then you're on to go to Gainesville into the swamp, and you got to beat Florida. If you do that, they're definitely in the playoffs, no doubt about it. And there's not a glaring weakness with Florida State. That's what makes them so interesting. I mean, they have a potential Heisman winner with Jordan Travis. He could throw for high 3,000s in the yards, looking at maybe 26 to 30 touchdowns with less than 5 interceptions. He's got units everywhere in the wide receiver room. Decent offensive line, decent running game. If their defense can hold up, they can make some noise in the college football playoffs. That's a scary team.
Yep. So I would argue that they have one weakness, and it's their strength of schedule.
But they're already number 4.
Yeah, they're already 4.
Undefeated conference champion.
Yep. They're already number 4.
They're not going to drop them, especially since 3 and 2, or I guess right now 3 and 1 have to play each other still.
Yep.
So one of them was going to drop.
Yep, that's correct. I
5 and 6 have to play each other too, so they're not going to jump them.
That's correct. It'll be very interesting if we get to a world where Michigan beats Ohio State and Oregon beats Washington, and we'll see who's going to battle it out for that 4th spot. Speaking of Washington, I think they also have a very clear path to the college football playoff. You have to win out. If you do, in fact, win out, your strength of schedule will be undeniable. You have one premier matchup on your schedule, being Oregon. Looking at it as it is right now, you would replay Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game. And then you have like 5 other ranked at the time teams that you would have beaten. So I think the path forward is very clear for Washington. Now, as far as weak links go, I think it is their inconsistency. To be fair, they have found ways to win games. That is undeniable. They are undefeated up to this point, but they have had some scares, and I don't mean like Ohio State scares. We all know the script when it comes to an Ohio State scare. It's close at halftime, then they get ahead by a touchdown in the 3rd quarter, then they score another one in the 4th quarter, then they score a field goal at the end of the game to make it look like they covered, but really it was just backdoor cover and all that jazz. Washington legitimately has had games where they have almost lost to Arizona State, and they had to
Arizona State squeaked by them.
Yeah, like they needed some last minute theatrics to win that game. So I just think if they can lock up the consistency, I think that they are a force to be reckoned with. But yeah, it's pretty simple. Just keep winning, do your job, and everything will take care of itself.
Do you think a weakness could also be having to play Oregon twice and how hard it is to beat the same team twice in the same season?
Yes, because looking at everything, now to be fair, my opinion of Washington is swayed a little with them performing like they did over USC. That was good. I was really glad to see that their offense was back. The caveat to that is it was USC's defense, so, not exactly something to stick your feather in your cap for. But it was good to see that they can still score points. Oregon, on the other hand, has slowly but surely been building up their confidence.
They've looked solid.
Yeah, Brandon, do you want to take?
They only lost by 3 at Washington.
Correct. Yep.
Mhm.
That was Brandon's push of the year, I believe.
Correct. That was my push.
Yep. So Brandon, you want to take this one, boss?
Yeah. I can round it out. I mean, it's pretty similar to Washington. I mean, you got to win out and you got to avenge your only loss of the season in the conference championship. If you do that with the only loss being at the hands of Washington, pretty early in the season at that, I think. What week was that? That was pretty early on.
That was fairly early.
Which I think that's a big thing. If you're going to take a loss and still make the playoff, unless it's like an Ohio State situation last year where you lose in your conference championship by a thin margin and they're still able to make it in, unless it's something like that, the earlier the losses in the season, I think, plays in your favor. That way you can kind of prove that you've improved from that loss and are kind of a revitalized team. And then especially if you can avenge that one loss in the conference championship, with that one loss coming early, I don't think there's any way you leave them out of the playoff.
What would you say Oregon's biggest weakness is at this point?
I hate to say consistency. They've looked good since they've lost. I think I don't think they've had necessarily a close game since they've lost to Washington.
No, I don't think so either.
They beat Washington State by 14. Beat Utah pretty handily. Cal. I think probably comes down to if I had to say, and y'all can chime in if you can think of anything better, maybe defense, which is something that a lot of these Pac-12 teams it comes down to. They have the firepower on offense. They're going to go up and down the field and score.
Yeah.
But
I still have the CFP show up and they're interviewing Bo Nix.
Oh yeah, I see that.
I just saw the graphic where it was like he's literally top 5 in every quarterback statistic that they have to offer.
I mean, if Oregon wins out and avenges their loss against Washington and makes the playoff, Bo Nix is in New York in December.
I agree. I think this is going to sound really stupid. When do New York invitations go out? Do they go out before Championship Saturday or after Championship Saturday?
I think it's after.
But they do not take championship games into account.
Yes, they do.
They do? Okay.
Voting is not until after the championship game.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the conference championships are included in that.
That's how
Stetson.
Bryce won it.
Oh, valid.
When he beat Georgia.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But
so all that to be said, would you say that a potential Oregon-Washington rematch would pretty much be a play-in to not only the playoff, but the invitation to New York?
I believe so. I think that's a fair way to put it. To me, I mean, especially with kind of the state of the Big 12, I think there's an argument to be made, about if say it's Texas out of there and they went out and they beat whoever in the Big 12 championship.
We'll call it Oklahoma State.
I just don't think they have call it Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
I don't think they have if you have a one-loss conference champ, Texas, and a one-loss conference champ Oregon bidding for that 4th spot, I don't know how you would put Texas in over Oregon.
Yeah.
With the resume of Texas and Oklahoma getting beat again, so I think that weakens their resume.
Yeah, I mean that's a perfect segue right there.
Hey, before you segue, you want to hear a crazy stat that I'm looking at right now?
Love to.
Bo Nix with Oregon has been sacked only 4 times. Their top 3 running backs are averaging 6.9 yards a rush,
nice.
7.8 yards a rush, and 7.3 yards a rush.
Jesus.
And their top 3 receivers are averaging 16.3 yards per reception, 13 yards reception, and 10.6 yards per reception.
So are you saying they're the best offense in the country?
They have an elite offense with an elite offensive line.
Yep. With a Heisman contender at quarterback.
Yes.
And a Big Ten level defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it was kind of a meme a few years ago, Bo Nix, dark horse for the Heisman, but the way he's been playing, I think he's a legitimate consideration.
Yeah, not so dark horse.
Their only weakness is their field goal kicker, who is spotty at best. I mean, 50% over from 30 to 39 yards, 60% 40 to 49, and 0% over 50.
Yeah.
Said 50%, 30 to 39.
Yeah. 30 to 39, 50%.
Get. You should. So you're saying he is statistically better from 40 plus yards than he is from 30 plus yards?
No, because 50 plus he is 0%. He's 60%, 40 to 49.
Right. So 40 plus,
So
he's
further away.
So he's better 40 plus than he is 30 plus.
Yeah. Well, if you add all the 50 yards in there, he's still 50%, 40 plus, and he's 50%. So he's 50%, 30 plus, basically.
That's tough.
If you get a field goal 30 yards or longer, he
Flip a coin.
is. Yeah, flip a coin. He might make it, he might not.
That's tough. That's an interesting weakness, and it's kind of poetic that they lost to Washington by a field goal. Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't that a missed field goal at the end of the game? I believe it was. I think that was
I don't know if it was the last play of the game, but
was it not?
It had something to do with it.
There was definitely a key moment there where a field goal was missed.
Yes, I know
and
that for sure.
If he has been that spotty, that kind of makes me understand why Oregon has
missed a field goal. Last play of the game, missed a field goal, 43 yards.
Yep.
It was last game.
Yep. So that makes it make a little bit more sense why Oregon has been so risk-taking when it goes to going for it on fourth down when they're across the 50.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people called into question Dan Lanning and his decision making.
Because they lost by 3, and I think he went for it twice inside the 40-yard line, which should be makeable field goals.
Should be, but he knows what. Obviously, he knew what he had in his kicker.
Yeah.
So he was willing to
or
take that
what
risk.
He didn't have in his kicker.
Yep. So segue time. Let's just say, for argumentative sakes, UGA wins out. Michigan wins out. Florida State wins out. Oregon wins out. So for the y'all keeping math at home, that would be number 2, number 3, and number 4 winning out. Number 1 losing in the final regular season game. Washington losing to Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game.
Yep.
That's
an interesting 4-spot conversation, fellas.
Dude, that'd be so great to have Kirby Smart versus Dan Lanning in Louisiana.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. That's tough. I think part of it is how badly Ohio State loses to Michigan in this scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's like if Oregon wins out and they avenge their loss against Washington and they're a 1-loss conference champ, I just feel like it's really hard to keep them out.
Yeah, I would say the one team that has their eyes on a conference championship right now that is kind of on the outside looking in is Texas.
Absolutely. I don't think their resume is going to be good enough.
Yep.
They're going to need some teams to lose.
Yep. And I mean my sentiment has been the same the whole year. I have made it very clear that the Big 12 is the weakest conference in college football. And their only hope was Oklahoma, an undefeated Oklahoma, mind you. And now that
the Big 12 is weaker than the ACC?
I do think that the Big 12 is weaker than the ACC, yes. Yes, I do.
I think it's definitely more of a conversation with the emergence of some of these ACC teams.
Yes. Now,
you also have the fall of Clemson.
Yeah.
You get some, you lose some.
Yep. So I think that it also, I think I have less of a strong argument than I did a month ago, with Louisville falling off, with North Carolina kind of falling off. But my statement still stands simply because the ACC is putting its entire stock into Florida State, and Florida State's still undefeated. So.
Yeah. I don't think. Yeah. I mean, I agree. That's their golden child. If anybody's getting it, it's them.
Yep.
But I don't think Florida State has, at this point, Florida State can't lose a game.
I mean,
they're either in and they're undefeated.
Yep.
And if they take a loss at any point, I don't think.
yeah, because that loss, I mean, at this point in November, that loss would be like they don't have any good teams on their schedule left to make up for the
Florida's the
fact
best
that they
team they have.
lost the game. Yeah, Florida is the
Florida's
best
the
team
best
they have, sadly. And that would be
That's
the
saying something.
and that's the final regular season game. And I'll be honest, unless you're Michigan or Ohio State, if you lose the final game of your regular season, there's no hope for you.
Michigan, the game is the only
Yeah.
straight there. I
Yeah.
think I agree.
Yeah. I mean, as a Georgia fan, I would love to say that, well, I mean, if Georgia lost to Tech and then turned around and beat Alabama, we might.
It'd be quite the turnaround.
It would be quite the turnaround. I mean, maybe, but let's not think about that.
That'd be a tough.
That'd be a see. I would feel so bittersweet. I'd be like, I mean, good, I guess. We won the SEC, woo! But now all my coworkers that went to Tech are able to talk shit for 364 days.
Georgia hasn't lost in Atlanta since 1999.
Oh, yeah,
It's happened this
century, which is very impressive. And I'm glad we're playing in Atlanta for that reason. But no, I just think that I don't know. But anyway, even as a Georgia fan, I would like to say the most important game of the month is Georgia Ole Miss. I would also like to put an argument out there for. Honestly, I can't even BS my way through this. It's definitely the game. It is what it is. If Auburn decided to play a little better, it could be the Iron Bowl, but I think it's the game without a doubt.
The Iron Bowl has the opportunity to be like that somewhere down the line, but
correct. Not this year.
As it's currently constructed in the current landscape, I don't think much of anything touches the game.
Yep. All right, fellas. Well, I think this has been good. Appreciate y'all hopping on. Eric, it has been a pleasure to have you, sir. I was expecting the hotel Wi-Fi to be a little spottier, but you seem pretty
perfect.
Pretty good.
Hampton Inn, brother. Hampton Inn.
Yes, sir. All right, last thing while I'm looking at this screen. So with the 12-team playoff being implemented next year, the top 4 teams will receive a first-round bye. Do you think that they should follow the bracket method like the MLB does and like, March Madness and everything? Or do you think that the teams should be do you think, like, as it is right now, Ohio State at 1, do you think they should play the lowest available seed that comes out of the first round, or do you want them playing the winner of the 5-12 matchup? And as soon as I say the word about Wi-Fi, Brandon, you're a little spotty. Just like I think I can hear you just fine. Your picture's just interesting. It's all good.
I'll take it. I think that the number 1 team should get the lowest seed. I don't think it should bracket.
I think
it's
yeah.
Whoever gets the lowest seed. Because if you're gonna let number 12 in, and it's gonna be Liberty because they're the best team of the group of 5, they have to run the gauntlet. They don't get to they don't get a squeak by.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Liberty's the 12, they would play Ohio State no matter what.
They'd have to be the top 6. It'd have to be the top 6. So because they're taking all the conference champions in there, so they'd be 6. They win their game. They're obviously going to be the lowest seed. I think they should play Bama, not the 5 seed.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing the NFL does correctly compared to college football. So I think that's something that we should adopt. Brandon, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would bode well to if you're a 1 seed, you're rewarded by playing that 12 seed rather than the outcome of the 5-12 game is obviously and in college football is different than March Madness and other brackets. I think it'll be interesting to see how it goes because you can have these Cinderella teams in college basketball, and you can have these fantastic runs. I'm not so sure that's going to translate over to football. I think the talent gap is a bit wider there, just with the nature of the game. Games are won and lost in the trenches, and if you have better athletes, bigger guys, no matter how good coaching is, I think it boils down to that at the end of the day. So I think in that case, one should be rewarded with their performance in the regular season by being able to play that 12 seed.
So, yeah, it brings the importance of the regular season into play. So
you don't want to devalue those regular
games. Still matter in the regular season.
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree. No, it's good, boys. But yeah, from 3 and Out, Brandon and I are hoping everybody has a wonderful night. Eric, thank you for joining us yet again. But yeah, I hope y'all liked what you saw. Feel free to drop a comment. Let us know your thoughts on this ranking and how you think it's going to look moving forward. And as always, drop a like, drop a subscribe, and we will see y'all next time.